and we are back with a very exciting stream. I am over the moon about this stream, and I was gonna do it tomorrow, and then I was just like, you know what? I don't care what time it is. I want to stream about this now, and I want to talk about this because I have been proven so wrong, and I am so excited that I've been proven so wrong. So, as you've seen by the thumbnail and as you've seen by the title of the stream, the Blackout Crew are back, and I am so happy that the Blackout Crew are back, and this is like literally, this has literally made my year, all my days. You don't understand. So, if you are living under a rock and you are actually thinking like who are the Blackout Crew, then you seriously need your heads testing, because they were like the Bad Boy Chiller Crew back in the day, but they were a lot better than the Bad Boy Chiller Crew, and they are still better than the Bad Boy Chiller Crew, and hopefully they've come back to wipe the Bad Boy Chiller Crew out, because the Bad Boy Chiller Crew have I've got nothing on the Blackout Crew. The Blackout Crew were just such legendary people, and they did an amazing thing back in the day. So they actually made a full-on Donk album that got commercialized and got a full release, and they had Donk tracks that actually went in to the charts, and you could actually see these songs appear on music channels on TV, and you could hear these songs come onto the radio. So back then, sort of like 2008, you could hear full on like hard heavy pounding donk tunes with bad boy MC spitting over it coming onto our commercial radios. Now there's always been a little bit of a debate that that music go like underground rave music goes shit when it gets commercialized. A lot of people um, complained like that Darren Styles and people like Gamma commercialized hardcore, and that's when it went shit. And people have said the same for Bounce, like when Bounce got commercialized, it went shit. But personally, I don't feel that's the case, and I think that's like something that was so unique and underground, making big marks and making big steps. So the Blackout Crew, they did in a lot of sense, they did commercialize Donk, and they got bounce tunes on the UK charts and on our radios, and sadly the Blackout Crew, they sadly parted. They went separate ways. However, many of the MCs still carried on MCing. Jordan Cover, who was one of the main people in the Blackout Crew, he carried on selling out solo shows and hyping up the crowd, and hyping up and hosting for people like Ultra Beat, and even going on and doing some hardcore gigs as well. And some of the other MCs as well, who were part of the Blackout Crew, they went on to do their own things, and Cobra went on to release his own tunes. He did one called OnlyFans, and he's done B2Bs with Finchy and stuff over the years, which was good to see that they were still sort of doing things, if that makes sense. But it was just a shame it wasn't with the Blackout Crew. And then the Blackout Crew did kind of technically already come back, but they were kind of just doing tours, and they were kind of just selling out shows to sort of like play and I guess perform their old stuff live. So their old Put a Donk on It and Bounce and some of their other stuff, and they were just sort of like performing at shows. And recently, a couple of weeks ago, a guy called Matt Cheese, you might know him as DJ Cheese in the bounce scene. He actually put a post up saying the Blackout Crew are back making music, and I didn't believe him. I purely didn't believe him, because this guy called Matt Cheese, he is very well known for going on like social media very well known for having a joke, for getting people's hopes up, for memeing people and pranking people. He put a video up, and it was a producer in a studio, and he put so and so's been in the studio making a banger. So obviously I thought, I'll have a listen to this and see what he's been making. And then they just dubbed a Coronation Street Donk remix that was made years ago that everyone just laughs at and memes. And this guy, it didn't actually play the song that the guy was actually making in the studio. So I thought maybe this is Cheese just having a little bit of a laugh and making people that solely believe that the Blackout Crew would be coming back, would make them believe it, but but then maybe they actually wasn't. But it turns out that this time Matt Cheese was actually writing a truthful post, and the Blackout Crew are actually returning. So there's been some reels that have been blowing up, and I believe it all started on TikTok. Now, I don't watch TikTok. I don't go on TikTok because I don't like the platform. I've been plastered on it many of times, and I do have an account on it that I've used in the past, but I've just tried to use it, but I've just never got on with it. I've never liked the program, and the only ever times I've ever gone on and used it has been when people have said "Hey Noble, you should start putting stuff on TikTok and stuff." But I just purely don't like it. So I just sort of, if a video is going to blow up on TikTok, eventually it will make its way over to Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So there was a reel that blew up, and Jax Jones had actually invited the Blackout Crew to a house party, and the Blackout Crew have actually been making a song with Jax Jones, believe it or not. Now, this is absolutely crazy. So you've got Donkheads that essentially just team up with a guy who is known for making commercial chart tunes, and they put what I can only describe sounds like a banger. Now, it was only a real short preview on a reel of them spitting a track at a house party, so you couldn't really get the full feel of what the track is actually like. There was a little bit of vibing from the video itself, and it actually sounded really good. It actually sounded like just how the Blackout Crew used to sound back in the day. They came in with all their really good lyrics, and the thing I always liked about the Blackout Crew is they were rave MCs, but you could understand everything they were saying, and that kind of seemed to still be the same case with the newer stuff. However, it obviously did sound a tad more commercial, which, what do you expect? You're teaming up with the Jax Jones. And I did read an article that was about the Blackout Crew returning. It was a news article, and Jordan Cobra did state in an interview that some of their stuff is going to be slightly more commercial than it was back then, because they've got to sort of move on with the trends and move on with the times, which I kind of understand. I'm not a big fan of artists that kind of reunite, but they kind of go sort of completely different to what they used to be. I do understand that it's good to go with the trends, and you've got to move with the times, and you can't live like it was 2008, because it's not 2008 anymore. But I do kind of hope that even if they don't necessarily release any sort of stuff that was as heavy as their old stuff, I do kind of hope that they kind of just put some videos online or something where they are spitting some of the older heavy stuff. Do you know what I mean? So why is your curtains got nails in? It's because there isn't actually a curtain rail, and it's never had a curtain rail, so it's a weird curtain, and I've just never got round to replacing it. So, but yeah, so they're back, and it looks like they're going to be making some commercial music, which is still going to be exciting. It still sounds like quite banging, and to be fair, there's quite a few commercial chart tunes at the moment that are actually sounding a little bit harder and a little bit more heavier and bouncier. Billy Gillis got his track DNA that went into the charts. That's obviously quite a bit more of a heavier tune within itself. So this kind of like heavier sort of, it's almost like this like heavier sort of trancey stroke bounce music is sort of kind of making that sort of entrance into the charts and stuff like that. So just, you know, these real sort of like heavy organ sounds and these real nice bass lines are coming through within our chart tunes. And so yeah, I think MC Burberry is doing it too. MC Burberry was a don back in the day, and this is what I'm saying. Like, people now think that the Bad Boy Chiller crew is like literally they think they're it. But you know, the people we had back in the day, like MC Burberry, MC Smalley, Blackout Crew. There was even, I don't know if you remember, they were MCs, but there was a group of music producers called BBP, Bad Boy Producers, and they made a tune called Candy Floss that got signed as well. And it was just, oh my god, it was like the tune itself was just so random, but it was just a banger. It was one of them like where it probably is shit, but it's still just like, it's just a classic that you'd Bluetooth someone back in the day. And like, oh my day, like so much of that like nostalgic like era is coming back. You know, like all we need now, and this is no word of a lie, all we need now is like Alex K to jump back on, and like really jump on some like solid like sort of new modern day commercial production that still has like a bounce vibe to it. And then we need like almost like a label to start back up, just like All Around the World Records was back in the day, that can just pump out loads of this new sort of this, I guess, what I'd call like the new clubland sound, if that makes sense. And then like you know, just like it was back in the day, but like all new and fresh. And then you've got like Flip and Phil and KB Project doing remixes on the EP. Like they were the days. That they were literally the days. Like KB Project even did remixes for the Blackout Crew as well. But no, when I saw this today, that the Blackout Crew, that there was actually making a comeback. This was it made my year. It really did. 2008, Christmas Day, I got the Blackout Crew, the Time to Shine album. I'd be about 10, 11 years old or something like that, and it was just absolutely crazy. It was just absolutely crazy that you know, like, yeah, I'd be 11 years old, and I got that album, and I used to buzz off of it in the when it used to come on the TV, when Put a Donk on It used to come on, and then it used to be in the pub, and I used to always want to put it on the jukebox because it was an absolute corker. And they released the album, and it was just, you know, it was just like absolutely amazing. And I remember it being advertised on TV as well, that the album was coming out, you know, when they used to advertise CDs on TV. What a time, what a day, what an era. It's an era that we sadly will never live again. You know, if I could go back to that era, but kind of live it now, and be old enough to like DJ and like gig and make music and release, and it just an amazing, you know, it was an amazing time for UK hardcore. It was an amazing time for bounce, because you know, they was all doing so well in their own ways, but there was none of this kind of like, you know, or the hardcore scene and the bounce scene and all this kind of like drama. And there was less social media back then. You know, social media was a thing, but it wasn't like as big as it is now. I think, you know, just sort of liking photos and putting up posts, and messaging people was about the only thing that we could do when it came to Facebook. There was none of this like going live and making reels and viewing stories and cover photo collages and I think you might have been able to tag people back then, but it was back in the days where you'd poke someone. I mean, who pokes people on Facebook nowadays? There was like a little bit of an era where a little bit of a time where it briefly came back and everybody was like, oh yeah, remember when people used to poke people, and then everyone started poking people again on Facebook, and it probably happened for about 2 weeks, and then everybody was just like, well, what's the point in poking people? Stalkers, stalker alert. But what an era. Honestly, it was a really good era for music for me. It was when I would say probably started getting into the more heavier sort of side of music when obviously there was when sort of like Alex K was blowing up with the Ultimate Energy albums, and the Blackout Crew obviously released theirs, and yeah, just what a time to what a time to be alive. Squaddy and Recon, they were making moves with Twister. Ultra Beat was still doing things. There was Starry Eyed Girl and Disco Lights and all that coming out. Darren Styles had just not long since done well with Save Me, and then stuff like Come Running was coming out. Like I say, Alex K was blowing up on the scene. You had like Bad, and you had Greenie, and Finchy was blowing up as an MC, and Wigan Pier was really still booming at that point. Just an absolutely amazing time for music. So to hear that the Blackout Crew is coming back, it is obviously. Oh, I needed that. It was obviously like something that I was proper buzzed to hear. So what can I say? Yeah, I had to stream it. I was like mega excited. So I can't wait to hear the actual song when it comes out. And I hope like there's gonna be like an extended version as well for DJs. I know it's a little bit like on the commercial side, but it would be really nice just to be able to drop it in a set like um or if someone actually like manages to do like a remix of it that DJs can obviously DJ as well, that'd be absolutely amazing. Fan Dabby Dozy, if I don't say so myself. What a day, what a time to be alive, to hear this, and you know, that they've actually come back, that they've actually made a comeback, and that they're actually just making music again, which is just really good to see. And I genuinely thought Matt Cheese was having us on a couple of weeks ago when he put a post up, or maybe about a week ago. I just remember seeing it and thinking, like, this is probably just Matt Cheese having a little bit of a joke. And one of the reasons why I was led to believe this was I found the Time to Shine album in a second hand shop about a year ago, and I bought it. Obviously, it was only 50p, so I couldn't say no. And I took a picture. And I put a picture up, and there's always got to be one person, and someone actually tagged Cobra in it, and I just happened to say like, would you ever would you ever make another album again? And at the time, he was like, he was like, no, we won't. So I was thinking like, oh, they're just happy touring together, but that era of making songs is over. So when Matt put his post up, that sort of also gave me more reason to think Matt's just having us on it, and he put a post up like the Blackout Crew were getting back together. Viper's back in the studio tomorrow, and I just thought, yeah, probably not. I know Viper had been in the studio, but I think he was just doing some I thought he was just doing some solo bits, to be fair, and I just thought, oh, Viper's sort of now jumping on this kind of, you know, making sort of like TikTok videos of him like doing Spitfires over Donk and stuff, and I think he has done some of that as well, but I just didn't purely believe that the Blackout Crew was coming back, and for me growing up, there was kind of like how someone kind of like how you've got like when you was a kid and there's this like band that you always loved, or like girls saying like favorite boy band, that kind of thing. Well, for me growing up, the Blackout Crew, they was like the thing, and I was like right into them. They were my favorite at one point. And I think my favorite tunes from the album, I think there was I mean obviously they put a donk on it, that was always the legendary one, and Bubba Bubba Bounce, that was also legendary in itself. That was something that that was something quite crazy within itself. And they were always like good tunes, and everybody always like when people mention Blackout Crew, it was always put a donk on it. That was always like the main one. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that tune, but I kind of feel like there were some other tunes that I thought personally were better than that. And and it's kind of the same with people like Corona. You say Corona, people always think the rhythm of the night. People think Snap, they always think rhythm is a dancer. But to me, there's like other songs that I think that are always better. And I think, in some sense that they're kind of better because they don't make it as big as like say like the other tunes do. So like with that Corona rhythm is a rhythm of the night. Everybody has talked about that, and it's been played for years, and it was at the forefront back in the day. It's up there as it's probably in every like 90s dance playlist because it is an iconic 90s. But I think because it's been played so many times and it's been listed as like one of the top 90s dance classics, and it's on every 90s dance album, that's what kind of makes it become not as good. And then you've kind of got these other tracks that they've done that you think, well, actually I actually prefer this one. And I think that was the case for me with the Blackout Crew. And there was two tracks they did that I think were personally my favourite. But I mean, I like them all, to be completely honest and truthful with you. But there was a tune they did, and I'm trying to think what it was called. Because they did one called "He's in the Back," but it wasn't that one. Um, there was oh, it's gonna really annoy me now. Bust it up a level. It was called "Bust It Up a Level," and it just had a really nice starting lyric in it, and it had some really nice sounds in the donk track in itself, and it had a really good melody to it. Um, and like I said, the lyrics were good, and I kind of like how it kind of like dropped into a little bit of a breakdown, and one of the MCs started spitting in it, and it just sounded like really good, and it sounded really clear, and it was almost kind of like the way he spat it, it almost kind of sounded like it was a bit more laid back, but it was still like kind of ravey and donkey at the same time. And it was kind of almost like it'd gone into like sort of almost not whisper, but it was kind of like whisper but not whispering. And it was like I'm that individual who's professional, put into words I'm indescribable. And the tune had dropped, and it was just amazing. And then there was another track called "Here Together," um, and it had a really really nice female vocalist that sang like a little chorus hook on it, and it was like, can we stand here together? And I just absolutely loved it. It was just absolutely, it was just crazy. I loved it. It was an absolute boss tune. And then there was another tune that they did called Not Enough, which was a good one. No Guns, No Knives, that was an absolute belter of a tune. Donkaholic, I think it was, or Donkatronic, or something like that. And they were spitting about like a souped up car, and that was a tune in itself. Um, Oh, there's He's in the Back. Uh, let us take you one step closer. All aboard the roller coaster. Blackout crew were marching through like soldiers. Yeah, we are the wicked lyric composers. Oh man, yeah, I'm reminiscing here now, but that was a real good tune, and it was I think it was something like track 6 on the album. So the first track, if I remember right, was Ravers. Well, they had like a little introduction. Um, so they had like a little intro, and it was like BBP and that, make a tune and that, and then it was Ravers Binge, and then it was Dialed, which was a tune they did about being in a call center, which was really good, and then I believe they did Dowie's Call. And they did a little phone call, just like a little funny phone call thing. Then it was Busted Up a Level, so that would technically be number 3. I think it was. I think it would it would technically go as number 4, because I think the phone call kind of went as track 3. So number 4 was the Bust It Up a Level, um, and then number 5 was the He's in the Back, which was really good. And then I think it was the Donkaholic. Um, was it Donkaholic or Donkatronic or something like that? That was the track after that. And then it was Put a Donk on it. Then it was Here Together, and then there was Rumpa Pumpa, which was it was about like candy and chocolate, which that was a little bit of a funny track in itself. Then I think it was Not Enough. Then I think it was No Guns, No Knives. And then they did like a shout out at the end of the album. And they just shouted a load of people out for, I think it was just like for making this album happen and stuff like that. I could be missing a track, but I don't think I am. And like it just shows like how much I actually liked them back in the day. That even to now, like I remember the album. Like that is the most craziest thing in it, that like even back then I remember the album, and it actually makes me want to go and listen to it as well. And like the gutting thing is I packed all my CDs away, and now like I'd love to just like go in a box and root for that album, and just find that album, because it was truly magical. It was a magical album, but I don't, it'd be so hard to find it now in all the boxes. But I can go on the internet and listen to some of the tracks, most definitely. So 2023, nearly 2024, the Blackout Crew are back. I can't wait to see, fully what they're working on, fully what they're making, and what is actually going on, because obviously it'll be really good to see what's happening and what's going on, and get a vibe of like this new Blackout Crew. And yeah, I'm absolutely buzzed for it, and hopefully, like I say, they come and wipe out the Bad Boy Chiller Crew, because it's almost like it's got a Summit Crew, like they're trying to be the modern day Blackout Crew, but the Blackout Crew are coming back, and they're gonna dominate. They're gonna dominate these little Bradford chavs that really think there's something. I've never been a big fan of the Bad Boy Chiller Crew, and I'll be honest, I don't like I don't hate them, but I don't love them, and I just, for me personally, they're just not really my style. With the Blackout Crew, like when they made Time to Shine album, like, don't get me wrong, there was all the rave and bounce elements in there, but it was still commercialed away from kind of like encouraging kids to take drugs and encouraging kids to, wheelie on motorbikes without a t-shirt on, and and encouraging kids to, sit in the back of souped up boy racer cars with girls on the lap while smoking a doobie. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was still in a lot of sense, they were raving it up, and they were listening to a type of rave music that was associated with, getting wrecked and taking drugs, but they kind of commercialized it. Whereas the Bad Boy Chiller crew, it kind of just, sounds to me like, they're just acting like chavs. They're wearing balaclavas in music videos, and they're going quad biking and green laning, and and like, wheeling motocross bikes with just a t-shirt on, and it's just not, like I say, nothing purely physically against them, and I wish them all the success in the world, but like, it's just, for me, it's not really my thing. Like, I don't think it, I just think I've changed a lot over the years. I mean, I've said some things in lyrics before that I'm not particularly proud of, about stuff, and I've said some funny ones that are fun, but I think, when it comes to like being serious and getting into the music, like, I do know when to do that, and I don't, in sense, like, if I'm gonna ever put anything out commercially, I don't tend to, like commercial wise, I wouldn't do like the neighbors cutting the grass. I won't put that out commercially, because that's just not, there's a, it's time to sheer away from that when it comes to the, commercial side of things. And even when I make the donk tunes, I think I've only ever made one donk track, that has a swear word in it, and it never got released. It just went up as a free download. So in that sense, there was just no, sort of, it's just keeping it, on that professional commercial level. And I think, if the Bad Boy Chiller crew had have kind of taken that avenue, I probably would have liked them a little bit more, just because I would have thought, respect, like, you do all your kind of like, your naughty stuff, but then when it comes to, making the proper music, you actually make proper, actual good music, and not something that just labels you as chavs. And I think the thing that put me off them as well was all these like videos where they would just like, where they'd just like down like drinks of alcohol, and where they'd like, where they'd like eat a burger or something, and they'd put a cigarette end in the burger or something, and just weird daft shit. They'd be the type of people who would like, they'd get wrecked and backflip off a roof and put it up as a reel. And for me, it's just stupid. It's just ridiculous. And I just think, that the whole world's going balmy. If watching chavs like down alcohol, and just like, and to the point where they're just actually physically throwing up on camera as well, and they don't even like block out or censor out the fact that, a guy's just literally thrown up, or like he's practically vomiting. It just makes it disgusting, and I just think, like, why would you want to watch that? But for some reason, people buzz off of it, and people, teenagers want to be the next Bad Boy Chiller crew, and I just don't get why. It's, like I say again, nothing physically or personal, against them. Just not, in sense, my kind of thing. But anyway, that is gonna do it for the stream. The Bad Boy Chiller, God, the Blackout crew, the original Dominators, they're back, and they're making music. So I will probably make some more streams. Like, we might even review their track when it comes out. Like, we might listen to it, and we might see like what it sounds like, and I'll give like my honest opinion. You know, so I'm gonna go off the stream now. I might even listen to some Blackout Crew, and there's actually something I want to do. So I'm gonna go and attempt that as well, and get my head down as well. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share. We'll see you soon. The Blackout Crew, they are back.